Welcome to the Canterbury Interfaith Memorial Service for residents who have passed between the time of September 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2020. We are going to have prayers in the tradition that are important to the residents who are no longer journeying with us, and also those traditions that are important to us who are still walking our journey. There will be a separate section after the prayers and such where we will name the names of each resident and show a picture of them and present a picture of them. So there will be a separate section and for remembering and seeing their picture. And I thank you for being here to honor the memory of residents who are no longer in life's pilgrimage with us. This is a time of remembrance of who they were, how we keep their memory within our hearts, and give thanks for their presence in our lives. We recognize their lives, legacy, and how much they have changed us. We remember them by Sylvan Commons and Rabbi Jack Reimer. At the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. There is a cycle to life and to those things we all experience. There's a time for everything, joy and sorrow. Let us remember the ways we all experience the joys and sorrows of life. Ecclesiastes. Everything has an appointed season, and there is a time for every matter under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time of wailing and a time of dancing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. We rejoice in our differences, knowing that we are all brothers and sisters connected in creation. Each of us is filled with diverse gifts that we have to share. Let us remember all the gifts and uniqueness of those we have known. We are together in love. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. This is from the Gospel of John. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. We are in this world to live in community, supporting and learning from one another. This is where we find our purpose and life's meaning. We are not alone. Each person has given our life meaning. In the words of Albert Einstein, strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we know, that man is here for the sake of other men. Above all, for those upon whose smile and well-being our own happiness depends, and also for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how much my own outer and inner life is built upon the favors of my fellow man, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received. Let us remember those with whom we have loved and in community. And again, in our second session, you will hear the names and the pictures. Right now, we will just remember them in our hearts and with the names. Karen Azeltine, Ted Baer, Bill Bouch, Jeanette Barron, Elizabeth Bissell, Denise Dixon, Ernestine Dodd, Alden Livy, Midge English, Dr. George Glowacki, Mary Jorgensen, Dan Kazarian, Al Kowalski, Paul Leo, Judge Sam Mayerson, George Massey, James McCurry, Jean McLaughlin, Lorraine Mostero, Belle Newton, Sue Okazaki, Audrey Pedersen, Terry Finney, Marty Rosenzweig, Frank Sesno, Richard Siegel, Frank Schaefer, Thomas Smith, Daniel Woodruff, Woody, John Wild. The saying of Buddha, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. And our commendation. We give thanks this day for our brothers and sisters who have completed their journey on earth. We give thanks for their presence, and we keep them in our hearts. We remember those who have been called home. Amen.